Hey, what's up, YouTube? Welcome to the Money Room. It's your boy Nam Diesel. I'm here with I6B, and we have a brand new topic today. It's a Money Room, so we're talking about something money or finance related, and we're going to talk about pro athletes and Floyd Money Mayweather. You want to expand on that real quick, Tooks?
Um, we're talking about him in terms of what? How much money he has?
Go ahead, expand on it. Hit the
Well,
nail on the head.
yeah, I can only speak about athletes because I'm not really a sport guy. I can only speak about them from strictly from a money standpoint and strictly from fundamentals that on how money moves, in and out. But what I found is I'm also very reserved. But some facts remain some facts. There's only so much Michael Jordan's out here. There's only so much Shaq O'Neal out here. There's only so much George Foreman out here. Most athletes, you never heard about them after they're done for a reason. So maybe we can catch a clue from there.
Right. So the thing is, a lot. We're saying pretty much is, not everyone makes it to that level of stardom as an athlete. But
they make they make it
even
to
be
stardom from a
it,
financial standpoint.
yeah, and even beyond, that's what I'm saying. Even beyond that, even those who get out there, their names, their names, at home or whatever. From a financial standpoint, they could still end up broke. So what we're here to talk to you guys about, to cut to the chase, is athletes. What do they do with their money? Why do so many professional athletes go broke? It's almost to the point where it's almost like an epidemic, where there are a lot of professional athletes that get these big contracts, and next thing you know, they're broke. So why do professional athletes go broke? And specifically, we'll dive a little bit on Floyd Money Mayweather, because he'd be out there spending that money, but he'd be getting a lot of money too. Is he going to end up being broke, just like all the others? The others predecessors before him. Talking about Mike Tyson, right? And so on. A whole bunch of boxers, NFL players, NBA players who come into the limelight, they make all this money, get these big checks, and next thing you know, they're broke. What's up with that? So we're gonna talk about what's going on. Why do we think that's happening with these athletes? And Mayweather, I think he's a smart guy, but I don't know. What do you think? You think he's gonna go broke 10 years from now?
I think he's lucky with the times that we're in. I think the he has multiple signals to tell him if he's going to go broke by now. The amount of money we see him spend on Instagram or flaunting on the social media is nothing close to what he's bringing in. It's not. It's not even close. It's nothing. It's
I
like
agree.
like pennies.
I
So
agree. I think people don't recognize that because it is a lot of money, but
yeah,
to him, it's really not that much. We're gonna get to him, like
yeah,
in his budget, and that's what one thing I'm gonna bring up again. I won't repeat it over and over again.
right.
Budget is very important.
If this was 5 years ago, you asked me, I probably would say, yeah, that motherfucker is gonna go broke at some point. But
After a couple paydays you saw, like damn.
yeah, but I'm a little bit more reserved on giving such opinions. The fact is, I don't know. Is it possible for him to go broke? Absolutely. Is it possible that he knows what he's doing? Yes, and I hopefully so. Because we have more than enough athletes going broke, and like I mentioned earlier, just by observing strictly from the outside, it's obvious that most athletes go broke. And it's worse for them when they go broke. They can't just go back to a regular life and grab a job. It's not, even if it may seem simple, it's not simple for their brain to come back to that level. And I know that hands on from personal experience. When you've gotten to a certain level, having to come back and humble yourself is not something that's easy for the brain to do. Mental, from a mental psychological standpoint, it's not
Right.
easy. That's why it's worse for them, because it's a downward spiral thing. Like it just goes out of control. It's a snowball effect.
So let me ask you this, Tooks. Why do you think? What do you think the reason is? Why is it that a lot of these professional athletes end up getting broke? What's the problem?
Well, the forces of nature by itself, somebody has to be broke.
No, someone has to be. But why is it? We're talking about these guys. These guys get paid
Number
millions and
one,
millions of dollars. So
that
let's
that's
get to that.
that's the number one reason. That's the number one reason. But that tells you, I want to say that because if you're an athlete, it puts the odds against you by default. You know, when you know that somebody has to be broke, but you get to choose if that's you or not. The reason why specifically for them is in their world they attract a lot of
So
culture
just
culture vulture.
expand on that first part. You said it puts the odds against you as an athlete. Why would you say that? Why do you think that?
Okay, so mathematically standpoint, if we know most athletes are gonna go broke, you're just one of them. So by default, that puts the odd against you. That means you have to beat the odds. That's just
Okay, that's a very fair point. So you're pretty much saying like you're not even looking at necessarily the details yet, but just based on the data that we have, we see this happening a lot. So
yes.
based on that data, since it happens a lot, the odds are already against you because it happens a lot, right? So going from
Exactly.
there, okay.
So, and you're not Jesus. So if you're gonna come in the game, you better know something better than all those bottom 97% that go broke. You better know something that they don't know, because if you don't, then you're gonna end up like them, and the odds are in that favor, right? That you're gonna end up like the broke ones, right? Even if you've gotten rich before, even if you've made 2 million, $3 million per year before, even if you've signed $20 million deals before, uh, how high you've made actually determines how low you can go when you go broke. And it makes it even that much easier because you're exposed to all these different forces, including money managers, including predators, including culture vultures. There are people lining up on the sidelines waiting for you to sign those big deals. And typically when somebody signs those big deals, they're young, no experience,
Good point. Now you're talking. Okay.
and this is we get it, somehow we end up in this argument every now and then. I say things are not easily just simply math. If it was simple math, hey, it makes sense. If you make $2 million, just put 90% of that away and just leave on the 10%. Yeah, right. It's not that simple. Plus there's also another force called the Uncle Sam. If you
There
don't
we go.
employ the proper people in your corner and really take the time to educate yourself on how money works, if you don't position that money properly, even if you were um the cream of the crop, is that how to say it? Like the special one, right? And you said, I'm gonna just spend money I'm just gonna live on the 10%. Even if you happen to be that mentally strong, Uncle Sam is gonna come for that money that you made, that gain, and you're not gonna be very happy, and it's not gonna be the smartest thing to do.
I'm happy you brought up taxes, and that's the thing. A lot of these athletes, some of them don't even know the impact of the taxes that they're gonna get. They get these bonuses, they get these sign-on bonuses or whatever, and they're like, damn, I made it. They think they got so much money. Okay, you got quote unquote $1 million, but it's not $1 million. First, Uncle Sam is gonna come, so pretty much you're gonna have just cut that million into half, pretty much. So people say, oh, you got no, you didn't get $1 million, you got half of that, and after out of the half of that, we're talking about your agent. Your agent guy has his cut too, right?
Yep.
That money going out to, as taxes. As a matter of fact, for an athlete, is a lot worse than it is for most jobs. And now the reason I'm saying this is, if, for example, and people don't realize this, is say, okay, I'm a hedge fund manager, right? I'm making money. You trading, you doing whatever you're doing, right? The tax that you're gonna get is very different than the tax someone who's gonna get who's on a payroll, right? Who's on a payroll. So that's already a disadvantage. So even though you're technically getting paid the same, this guy's a head fund manager. He's making $1 million, right? This guy's an athlete. He's making $1 million too. But you're not getting the same amount of money, take home pay after all said and done. Because now the head fund manager is going to get taxed at and obviously he's a smart guy in terms of finance, so he knows what he's doing compared to an athlete. So he already knows, the loopholes and whatever, how to do his stuff. And now that person is getting taxed, let's say 15% long-term capital gains. You're getting taxed 15% because you're doing stuff long term, you're doing all kind of stuff, and you have some short term gains here and there. But for the most part, say you're doing long term capital gains, you're holding positions for over a year, whether it's in real estate, other stuff, you get long term capital gains, 15%. The other guy over on the other hand, who was an athlete, who's on a payroll, this guy's getting taxed like everybody else gets taxed, just in a high tax bracket. Now you're paying 50% in taxes. Depending on what kind of sport you're into. So you're a boxer, you're traveling around the world. You're paying taxes in other countries, in other states, because you're making money outside of one place. So you're just racking up taxes, you're racking up living expenses, all this kind of stuff. And people don't really factor all that stuff in. So by the time all is said and done, that take-home pay is like nothing, right? So yeah, you got to factor all that stuff into what, how much money you get paid at the end of the day. A lot of people say, oh, I make blah, blah, blah. No, you don't make that money. You make this much and you give this to the government. How much you actually make is what you actually make.
You know, I always say, I always go back to if it was this simple, everybody would be doing it. That means there's something to learn. To whom much is given, much is expected, and that goal, like,
Much is expected and much is tested. You get tested. Much is tested too.
yeah. And I was watching Grown and Hip Hop. I think that's what they call it. Yeah, Grown and Hip Hop, and JD, so deaf Google hip hop guru was on there, and the brat, right? The brat was like, "What's going on, my G?" And he said,
The
"Mama."
brat. I heard that name a long time, man.
I know. She's on TV now a lot.
Yeah. I'm trying
And,
to get that reality TV check.
you know, and he said, "More money, more problems."
I disagree with that statement.
You disagree?
I disagree with that. My fact, we should have another episode, another day, but I disagree with that. More money, more problems. I'm like, get out of here.
Well,
get out of here. That's it.
The only
more money I have, the less problems I have.
Context matters. So
of course, man. I agree with that on all contexts. But anyway,
context matters. But my point there is, to whom much is given, much is expected. It doesn't have to be a problem, is your point, right? But much is expected. You have a lot more responsibility when they're throwing such amount of money at you. And it's throwing money at you because, again, yeah, I know you worked hard. You were the best athlete in your high school, and then you got drafted, and then you got signed. There was this multi-million-dollar deal. Those brains are not ready for that kind of money. A typical brain is not ready for that. And money is ridiculous. It has a tremendous amount of power. When they dump $100,000 into your account and you've never seen $1,000 before, your own money, it does something to you that it's not normal. And if you're human, that will fuck you up. And the way it's gonna fuck you up, it varies from how it does it from people to people. Some people just go out there and they start spending money. Some people go immediately and they want to buy their mama a house. That's
what most people do, and that's understandable too. That's a good point. That's a lot of things that they end up spending their money on. They go buy their mom a house, they buy their dad this, they take care of people, and that's fine. But the thing is, those guys get to the point where everybody's asking for a handout. You have to be smart enough. I know when to stop. You can't just. Obviously, certain people you have to give back and do that, take care of to an extent. But you also have to have know where to draw the line.
And I want to point out that, because your question was that how does it happen, right? That's
a good example of how it happens.
It's mostly legitimate stuff. It's nobody trying to do wrong. It's nobody.
Oh no! There's the wrong part. What you said is the good part. That's all the kind of good part. But there's also the wrong part. There's the gambling. There's the excessive spending. We'll get there. This is like
we'll get there. From an intention standpoint.
Right.
There's a lot of money that goes into good intentions.
I agree.
Put you in the same spot, just as good as broke. So because you have good intentions does not immune you, is my point. Oh yeah, I'm just trying to help my mama. I just want to help a family member. I just want to protect the whole world. I just want to save the world. Does not mean you're not gonna broke. As a matter of fact, I think a lot of the going broke factor is, the obvious is gambling, buying all those cars, right? But it's really truly never the obvious in real life. The most dangerous ones are the ones that are not the obvious, because if it's the obvious, you could just stop the bad behavior at some point. But they
get addicted. Good thing you mentioned that earlier. When people see a big sum of money account you haven't seen before, and it's like, damn, I'm getting one like this now. You see that shit and it keeps coming. First off, that's what I tell a lot of people. NFL stands for not for long. NFL, not for long. You have to be smart enough to know that money's not going to last forever.
Not for long.
Not for long. It's a short career. So you have to be smart enough to know that, okay, this career is, it's not going to last that long, and budget based on that. You can't expect to get paid at whatever rate you're getting paid when you compare that to someone who's getting paid for 30 years or whatever. None of that. I won't tell people to work for that long. We should try to retire and enjoy their life. But the point I'm trying to make here is this. NFL stands for not for long. Same goes with most of these other sports. NFL more than most because of injuries and whatnot. And players get this big money into their accounts, and it's almost like the lottery, the lottery syndrome. People who hit the lottery, it's like, oh shit, and they just it does something to their mind. It does something to their mind. Like you see a big shit of money, you've never had to manage that kind of money before. and as a result, you just spend it carelessly. Now, is it different than, I keep going back to like a hedge fund manager or people like of that sort, because it's different if you build your wealth by yourself by actually investing and making money to a certain point. That is different because you already learn how to manage your money. You're used to, you got yourself there and you know what to do to obtain that. But these people, a lot of these athletes, all they know how to do is run, catch the ball, blah, blah, blah. As soon as that skill set is done, as long as you're too old, as soon as you break something, you cannot, that skill set is not transferable to something else or sustainable beyond that, you know? So that's a big difference. And beyond that, you know, it's like an overnight kind of thing. And that's, to go back here real quick, I think a lot of college athletes should get paid. And I think that'll actually help. If college athletes, because now I don't know to just put it out here and say, okay, blah, 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 blah. I also bring solutions. I think if college athletes get paid and they start to learn how to manage money before they get into the major leagues, then it'll make a lot more sense. You know, they'll be able to manage their money a lot better, because a lot of people, you come out of college, right? Obviously, it's people, they get money under the table or whatever, you know, a little bit here and there. But you go from that to boom, big money, right? And now all of a sudden, like, what happened? You know, you can't expect someone to act right. It's like hitting the lottery. That's kind of feeling that they'll get.
Yeah,
break, you know. But if you build yourself, that's just a comparison one more time.
Yeah.
If you build yourself slowly and you know how to manage your money, it's different. And that's why you find, you know, this guy who's rich from business, you know, he knows what he's doing. There's a good chance that, you know, he's not gonna go broke compared to this guy who just got the money overnight. And you know, the only way he's getting it is because he's running fast and catching a ball or something. See what I'm saying?
Right.
So,
you know, that's a Yoruba adage that say "Akokpa uomo, candy is for candy." Like the first money you make is for candy.
yeah.
So if you make, I'm looking at the NFL average salary here according to Business Insider, $1.9 million a year.
They're not counting a lot of people there. I'll tell you, I'm happy you mentioned that. There are a lot of NFL players, and part of it is a problem because people get. As an athlete, because I was an athlete too, right? I still consider myself an athlete. I like to athletic shit, right? And as an athlete, you're competitive. You know, your ego is there. So you see this. Not everyone's making that 1.9. There are a lot of people who get.
No, but it says average.
I know. But I'm saying, like, you know, even that they're leaving a lot of numbers there. But a lot of NFL players who make way below that. A lot of them.
Some of them make $200,000, $300,000,
200, 500, you know, and stuff like that, and you can get hurt, you know.
And you can get hurt. Yeah.
Yeah, and so now you see someone. Let me give you an example. Say someone is making $1 million a year, and now this other guy's making $5 million. Now everyone wants to compete with each other. People want to start competing. You know, this guy was wearing this chain. Oh, okay. You know, I want to pull up to practice in this car. Blah, blah, you know what I'm saying? So it's just funny because, you know, athletes have that syndrome where you all want to compete with each other. And, you know, not everyone's has the same paycheck. You're all in the NFL, but there's levels to that shit. You know what I'm saying? There's levels to that shit.
But it's hard. It's hard.
You can't have champagne taste with beer pockets. You know what I mean?
So it's hard as a human being to be in the midst of greatness and not want to be great. It's just hard for the brain to consolidate that together, you know.
Look,
that's why some of them fall into that. It takes
it's okay to have an ego, but you gotta be smart.
Let me say it this way: it takes a tremendous amount of discipline.
There you go.
To stay in your zone when you're seeing all that around you, you know, to say, no, this is my zone. I only make $300,000 a year. Let me stay in my zone. It takes a lot. But I think we are talking more about the people that make the high dollar amount too, right?
We're talking about both. I'm just trying to paint the picture here because a lot of times people have that flashy thing, and that's part of it. A lot of these athletes say, you know what, I'm the NFL. They try to keep up appearances.
If I had a choice,
and I don't want to spend more money than they above their pocket for more reasons than one. First, they don't have a budget. I like to go back to budget. Budget is very important. There's nothing wrong with balling. You could ball you want. You're a baller, yeah, you could ball. You know, that's fine. But you got to ball on a budget too. You know what I mean? I can spend money sometimes, but it doesn't mean I have to spend money all the time. But at least, as long as you have it under a budget, you know exactly what the fuck you're doing. If you're spending money and you're not thinking about it, then that's just plain stupid because you don't know what you're doing.
That's been stupid. You don't have a plan.
Yeah. So you can ball, you can spend money, whatever, but know exactly how much you're allocating into that.
Yeah.
Shenanigans. You know what I mean?
You gotta have an idea of your resources that's available to you. And
I'm all for having a good time, man. I like to party, all that shit, but you gotta know how you're doing what you're doing.
Not only in partying, have a good time, even a lot of them waste money on investment. People come to them and say, I have this business idea all the time. That also happens. I tell people all the time, like I was just in a conversation where I was saying, listen, you always got to pay. There's always going to be an ongoing conversation. Bear Stearns in 2008, Lehman Brothers in 2008, those companies are run by very smart finance, whatever you want to call it, gurus that understand money. But yet those companies went under because of one factor. They were over leveraged. And sometimes we talk leverage and we throw all kind of isolated extreme ideologies around without context, without proper context. You know, yes, we got to go fast. Yes, we got to, the other day I was telling somebody, like, hey, be careful with that. I was like, scare money, don't make money. Miss me with that. People say that. And I say, and I laugh, and people that say that are typically people that have no experience. But yes, in certain context, you don't want to be scared to death that you're not executing and doing something.
It's all about calculated risk. You could take a big risk, but the reward better be more. I mean,
yes,
you scared money don't make money. It's true. The less risk you take, the less you're gonna make. But even when you take a big risk, make sure that upside is enough.
It needs to be an assessed, calculated risk. It's not just risk. There's a difference between risk and gambling. Gambling is on the extreme side of that. You're taking a risk, yes, yeah, they can argue that too, but
you have to take a risk and you have to take probability. So you take a big risk, you have to ask yourself, what's the probability of it happening? You can take, when I say big risk, I take a big amount of money and you allocate it to something. That's your risk. That's what you're risking. Now, when you're risking that, what's the probability of this actually working, and what kind of returns are you going to get?
What's the with that being said, if you're just putting your money into a slot machine, not poker game now, some people can have skills and strategies around certain type of gambling, right? But you walked into a casino, you put your money into a slot machine, it's a 50-50, right, or less that you ever get that money back. Right, and I say 50-50 or less.
It's less because the house always wins.
The house always wins, So
you got to put it in your favor.
So my point there is that we got to be careful with the ideologies and the cliches and the quotes and all those things, because those things have a certain context where they operate, and you can kill yourself by moving too fast. If your train moves too fast, you can absolutely get destroyed. And if you move too slow, you're not going to get anywhere either. So everything in life is balance. Maids got to eat. The streets got to eat, right? And that puts additional odds against you as a highly paid person. There's always, because once upon a time, I was into music heavy when I was in my early 20s. And I did some music. And I put some things together, and I went to Nigeria. And my little 3,000.
Shameless plug real quick. Shout out to Kenny right here. Afrobeats Life.
Which Kenny?
Kenny now. Dalento. This is his hat right here.
Oh, Afrobeats Live. Which one is that? I didn't know about that. He's starting a new website or something?
Nah, that's been there for a while, man.
Oh, okay. All right. Cool. So I did music, and I did the right thing. The right thing is always the right thing. You can learn from it. But here's what happened in Nigeria. My little $3,000 that I took to Nigeria, right, was used to eat dinner and lunch with people who promised they're going to help us get some music on the radio, right? My point there is that the streets got to eat. You can't blame those people.
So that's kind of like the same way. So what you're saying there is an example of what happens with a lot of these athletes. And these athletes, they have people who approach them with business deals. So people say, "I want to help you." Then they say, "Oh yeah, you're gonna help me." And the young, they have that, they're not experienced with certain stuff, and they get got. So don't get got.
Yeah. My point is exactly. The streets gotta eat. Your money is already in the hands of somebody else already. So make sure that you're paying attention to how your money leaves your hands. Make sure it doesn't. This applies to everybody at no matter what kind of income level you are. You got to be careful. Careful can be borderline, yes, scared money. But I'm telling you, especially if you have so much exposure, there's money managers, there's even your own managers, there's your own family that will bring people to you and say, hey, this guy is doubling money. He's going to make your money multiply. You're losing money by keeping it in the savings. And that's true, right? But that doesn't mean you shouldn't pay attention to what kind of aggressive investment. In my opinion, I think every athlete, what's the solution? This is my solution. I think every athlete must master the money game, must become a student of money. It's not good enough that you're an athlete. It's not good enough that you know how to make money now, which is not for long, like he said earlier. You have to be a master of money, an ongoing for life, lifetime student of money, because money changes on people too. Because the kind of recession we had in 2008, we probably have never had that type in the past. I'm reading the book right now, Ray Dalio Principles, and he told his story, and every recession is different. It has a different animal to it. So you kind of like have to remain a student of the money game if you're bringing such amount of money in, because your downfall is worse than a regular person. If I go broke from earning $50,000 a year, that's nothing. I'll go find another job. If you go broke from earning $1.9 million average per year, it's not a great space to be in the brain, and that's why you see many of them disappear. That you can't really find them anywhere, and some of them they end up on drugs or depressed or dying. You know,
Yeah.
just
And just
never
go back to, I mean, once upon a time, because how I could relate to this guy. I know some of these guys actually.
So is Mayweather gonna go broke? We don't know.
A little side note. So for one of the guys I'm actually working with right now, I guess I'm his client.
Okay.
Well, he's different. So he's actually an athlete, right? He's actually going to be good luck to him. He might be trying out for the Giants really soon, but he knows his money shit. So me and him will talk about his money. So I'm pretty sure he's smart enough, to go into the game and know what he's doing. So there are people who are out there who are actually educated enough on finance. He knows about crypto, all this stuff, stocks. So he's savvy like that when it comes to finance. But that's not, what we predominantly see in athletes. So that's what me and him could relate a little bit, because I'm an athlete myself, or used to be an athlete, but
Which one of it? Are you used to be an athlete, or you still an athlete? Which one is it?
It's both. It's a bit of both. But anyway, I mean, what's the point of time? I used to have dreams of playing the NFL, right? And all that stuff. NFL not for long. I did the one I did the math. I got hurt. I messed up my quad, so I couldn't finish my combines and all that kind of stuff. But one of the things that I did the math. If I'm making $1 million a year, this is like for example, right? For 30 years, that this is very simple math. It could be more. It could be way more. That's a cool 30 mil, right? Cool 30 mil in my career of just chilling, making money, right? If I was the NFL, say the average NFL salary is 1.9. Let's just an example, 2 million, right? And the average NFL career is 3 years. Shocking. I'm not shocking, but it is 3 years. That's the average NFL career, right? What's it? Do the math. 30 million, right? Which is, I derive that from 1 million a year consistently for 30 years. And that could obviously go up with inflation or whatever. Or you make money in the NFL and you make 2 million a year, 1 point round up.
And you spent $7 million.
So now you talk about 6 million here versus 30 million here. I'm like, okay, it's obviously, it wasn't just to make myself feel better, but it was like, I think this is actually a better path long term. Because it's very easy to get caught up in that world of just, of the lamplights and that kind of stuff, and get caught up with that kind of lifestyle, But I'm not to say that I'll not be smart enough, but where I am now, where I am mentally now, it's not where I was 5-7 years ago. I'm still smart. I still know what I was doing with money, right? But just the maturity level. When you have a certain amount of money too early, certain things might happen. You know what I mean?
Maturity is a big
maturity, and that goes hand in hand with discipline. I was a disciplined individual, but at the same time, maturity, it goes with age.
Yeah, the only way you can acquire maturity is with time. You can't buy it with money.
Yeah, exactly. So just a little food for thought there. So when we have about this big paychecks and stuff, it's good, but think about the length of the career. Now compare that to the length of a regular career, right? That could go to like your 60, or you just keep investing for yourself. Then you choose your path based on that. And this guy I was talking to, he knows that stuff. He knows that he can either go that way, but he's smart enough to probably invest his money too.
Right. So solution, right? So we can wrap up in about 3 minutes here. So solution, in my opinion, for people that have such a windfall, they sign a big contract. Too early. Too early means too early. Means you don't have the maturity. Means you're less than 10 years in the game of money in total. The solution is to make sure you have a mentor that has that maturity level, and a mentor. And a mentor can also it's not your mother, it's not your father. It doesn't have to be a family member. It could be, if you're that sure that they know what they're doing. But from a standpoint of they've seen money and they've managed money and something like that. But you need a mentor. But more importantly, I think they need a mentor from a standpoint of how to continue to bring money in beyond getting hurt, beyond the career itself. Because any money that has a ultimatum to it, I believe it's not really money. If you made $3 million in 3 years and no money comes in after that anymore, that's not money. You need cash flow. Cash flow is king. Cash is not king. Cash flow. You need that to continue to feed itself because money itself costs money. Either as per you keeping it or you're letting it go. Money by itself is actually some kind of commodity that costs money too itself by itself. So it's moving. Either you know it or not, either you keep it under the pillow or not. So you don't have the choice than to master money. That takes maturity, like you said. Maturity, the only way you can purchase maturity is with time. And you cannot have that if you're starting your career. So make sure you have a mentor that has that in place so that you can cover that grounds.
Yeah, that's definitely a good solution. But just to add to that, so a mentor could actually be someone that you actually know. You know, you can choose a mentor, find a mentor. And me personally, some people feel, oh, if we push that mentor thing, like, you know, really hard, you need a mentor. And I see how it can work, and it work for some people. But at the same time, not everyone really needs a mentor, especially in the age. You can actually learn from other people's mistakes. Just reading, research. You could you could self-mentor yourself. I'm not saying it to be egotistic or anything. My point is, no one person is gonna know everything, right? That mentor might know something, but no one mentor. Oh, that's my mentor, and I'm no, that's bullshit. You can learn shit from everybody. You can learn shit from people's books, from research online, from videos. You can learn. You can pick brains from everywhere, and it's easier now more than it ever was. So I guess it made sense once upon a time to have a mentor, and it's probably still makes sense in this day and age to an extent. It still makes sense, but I'm saying it's definitely not your own way out. You could actually get mentors, quote unquote, by picking other people's brain. This person's experience here, learn from it. Learn from this person's experience there. Learn from this person's experience there, and, you know, and so on. You know, and that way you make sure you don't go into the same pitfalls yourself. You know, people are always willing to teach. You know, I won't make mistakes. I know. Always tell the next person. And even you who are learning from other people's mistakes, you could also be somebody else's quote unquote mentor, telling them stuff that you went through, and they might learn from it. So just about sharing knowledge and, you know, gaining knowledge. You know, I think that's what the world is evolving into, especially now more than ever. And in terms of a bigger long-term fix, definitely, you know, I have to go back to budgeting. Budgeting is a big part of everything. And if athletes, I feel, I actually, you know, gradually let into their careers money-wise, show them some kind of money, show them how to budget, let them make money in college as college athletes, pay them because the schools make a shit ton of money off of them in college. Let them get a little bit of pay there so they understand what it looks like to have cash flow coming in from a paycheck every now and then, and use that knowledge so when they get to NFL, they know how to spend. And they don't just go crazy, or they get to NBA or whatever. They don't go crazy with how much money they're making and spend, you know, without actually thinking. So that's my advice. And, oh, real quick, go back to Mayweather. A lot of people say also about Mayweather spending so much money, blah blah. And if you look at it, I think the total amount of his cars. He has, don't get me wrong, he has a shit ton of cars. But at the end of the day, he has like 100 cars, luxury cars. But at the end of the day, they're like $50 million worth of cars, which is a lot for every regular person. We're talking about Floyd money fucking Mayweather here, right? This guy's worth between $700 million and $1 billion. So when people say, oh, this guy spending some money, he's gonna go broke. I'm like, look like this guy's smart. You can see the way he boxes. That's really the kind of mindset. He's go and just swing. And I get carried away. He's calculated. He knows what the fuck he's doing. So he knows throwing all this money on social media and all this stuff. I spend money on cars because he could afford it.
I agree with most people. I agree with the fact that the way he boxes is what do you call it?
Strategic.
Like a replication of his.
It's very strategic. And if his finances are any way close to that, not only like that, but close to that, then my man is set. I've seen him talking to Warren Buffett, and we all know who Warren Buffett is. If you're talking to Warren Buffett, discussing with him, that's a good quote unquote mentor. That's somebody you want to talk to if you're moving into that billionaire range. I see this right now, $700 million to $1 billion. So, and now again, a lot of people who actually criticize me when I say spend so much. I'm like, look, how much money do you make? How much you spend on your car? How much you spend on your house? Mayweather doesn't spend anywhere near 30% of his income on his house, right? Think about that, and that's what most people's budgets are supposed to be. He doesn't spend anywhere near 10% of his income on his cars because he owns $50 million worth of cars.
Mhm.
right? And this guy is already worth $1 billion, right? So think about it.
Yeah, the cars in
Average
the
out.
garage is means absolutely nothing. There, we
Yeah, but
someone like him
that's
will
what we're
have
talking
those
about.
cars for a penny. Someone like him will get that car for 1 penny or less. You know, because of the status is in the society. There are people that will give him cars for free. The
Oh no,
uh,
he doesn't get those cars for free. He pays.
I
He actually has like he has one car dealership he goes to. He
mhm.
get 100 cars from this car dealership, and that's where he goes to all the time.
my,
That's his
my,
car.
my point being, from somebody who doesn't know him like you do, having cars in the garage means nothing. You know, when I see that, when I see like back in the days
Yeah.
when they have cribs, it means nothing. It's not an indication if somebody's gonna go broke or not. That's my point.
I mean, it could, I see why people want to say that, right? But it all depends on how much money they actually cash flow, how much money are they making, how much money they already have. Because
Right.
a lot of times when people who do that kind of stuff, they're just trying to do it to stunt. They're trying to keep up appearances or show or stunt on people for no reason without thinking of their wallet, thinking of how much they spend.
I think the reason
That's the
why
problem.
many athletes and artists go broke has nothing to do with the obvious. I think it has nothing to do with the obvious. Of course, it will add onto it to make it worse, you know. But it has not. The obvious is there. They're buying cars. They're wasting all this money on luxury, and I think it has nothing to do with that. I think it go back to what you said earlier, which is budget. Just people plain not knowing how much they have before they're spending. You know,
Yeah,
that's
that's the foundation. That's the foundation. Yeah.
yeah. It goes back to that because it's usually something very core and basic and fundamental, right? That you just forget to practice once you're in that kind of zone, you know.
Right. Because you think it's
And
just, oh yeah, so much money. I've not seen this before. You just spend it.
yeah, mentorship, as you were mentioning earlier, I completely agree with you because of what I said earlier. Any isolated extreme ideology will kill you. You can depend on mentorship so much that you get paralyzed. You're not executing on anything.
Right.
So, so mentorship typically, when I say that, is for people who already value mentorship and they know how to balance it. Oh yeah, I have somebody I can ask this question that I've been through when I'm
Right.
going.
That's
But
a resource. That's a resource you could go to when
it's a
they.
resource,
Yeah.
and it could start from as simple as a book.
There
You
you
know,
go.
a book can be a mentor. Most of my mentors are inside of a book. I don't really have anybody in my personal life that I talk to. My mentorship is my personal experience and like literally from getting burnt, right? And just books. You know, I
And
come.
that's good. And that's exactly what I'm talking about. And if for some reason you're lucky enough to have access to this people who you learn from in the book or learn from on YouTube, learn from YouTube,
Mentor.
and you want to hit us up by asking us questions, that's fine. You
Yeah.
can do that too.
Yeah, yeah. So very good episode here, man. Very good episode. I think anybody can grab any value from it. I don't think I think Mayweather is a very smart kid. I don't think he's gonna go broke. I do think Hush Puppy is gonna go broke from whatever I saw. I don't know that either. I just don't assume anything about anybody. I don't know anything about him. But you know, once somebody makes it, they have too much time spending in the Gucci store and we don't know anything else because I mean this world is pretty public and transparent. We don't know what you do, and you're spending a lot of time spending millions of dollars in the Gucci store. I don't know how long that's gonna last. We've heard things like that in the past that just comes up very obvious, and before we know it, they went to jail. So, but I'm not saying it's gonna go to jail. We don't know. We don't know what we don't know. What we can worry about here is let's not count other people's money. Let's take these lessons and apply
I like that. I,
apply it to ourselves.
I like that, and that's why I tell people, hey, leave Mayweather alone. If you look at how he's spending in comparison to how much he has, and you look at yours, you might want to think twice about what you say about Mayweather. So my thing I want to say is, when you're pointing your finger at Mayweather, remember that 1, 2, 3, 4 fingers are pointing right back at you. All right, so check yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. It's about the lessons we can learn from these things, you know. And I think there's tremendous amount of lessons in this episode. So another good one in the bag for the money room.
All right, y'all. Peace.
Peace.